Okay, so today I want to talk about a scenario that I think is common among engineering teams and how to solve it, which is breaking code into smaller PRs. I think it's a very valuable skill to have as an engineer, and knowing the different approaches and the trade offs to each will help you figure out what's the best way to do this whenever you run into this scenario. So imagine a scenario where you need to make a lot of changes in a large code base, either adding a large feature or doing a big refactor. But the problem is you don't want to break things and you want to move quickly. So how do you do it? So in my eyes and my experience, there are three approaches that you can take to solving this problem. So the first we're going to call the hacker. So this person probably just wants to make all of the changes, and then they get to the point where they have this really large PR. Maybe it touches like 15 different files. Maybe the diff size is 500 to 1,000 lines. But they already made all the changes. So how do we break this into smaller PRs so that we can review faster, merge faster, without blocking this person or without blocking our teammates? So here we're going to assume you've created your branch, you've made all the changes. So what you're going to want to do is go back to master or main, create a new branch, and in that new branch, you're going to want to slowly pull in changes. So if your commits are organized, you can pull in like a single commit. If they're not, you can pick different files. So one way might be picking like util changes or new file changes, because if they're new files and they're not being used, then it's guaranteed that they won't break anything, right? And then you can kind of go piece by piece. And you can repeat that until you get to maybe like the last stage, like the last PR, where you do implement this new feature or you do implement this new function from a refactor, but the PR to review is only maybe 2, 3, 4 files, or maybe a diff of 100 to 200 lines. So that's the hacker approach, right? That's going to be good for people who maybe aren't used to working in this way, and instead they just want to hack away, get a solution no matter how many files it takes, and then come back and break it into smaller PRs. Next, we have the planner. This is going to be the best scenario for somebody who maybe understands the entirety of the code base and understands the entirety of the requirements of the task at hand. So if it's a big refactor and you're doing, let's say, this one file, then you can say, okay, I know that I could break it into maybe 3 parts, like 3 isolated chunks. And then you can do one chunk at a time. And you can basically do that until you finish the refactor or add the new features. But again, that one really depends on you understanding all the changes you need to make, understanding the new approach that you're going to take, and then being able to isolate those so that you can take it step by step. And then the last one is going to be the stacker, which is almost like a mix of these two. So this one I like to do when I'm personally developing new features. So the first thing you do is create a base branch off of main or master. And so this is going to be kind of like what you merge into, right? So you create that base branch. Once you have that base branch, you create a new branch. And so like, let's say the base branch is called feature A. So then you create a new branch off feature A. Maybe it's called feature A V1 or something. And so you make a change and you PR into the feature branch. So the difference here is instead of merging into master or main, where we might cause issues or break things, we're merging into the base branch, and then the base branch will have all of those changes. But before we merge that base branch, the feature A, we'll have done all the reviews beforehand, right? So you create a branch, you make the changes, you have your team review that, you merge it into the base branch. And you keep doing that until eventually you get all of the changes. They've been reviewed once, they've been merged into the base branch, and now you have this kind of big PR that will go into main or master, but you've already reviewed all of that code. So there's a little bit more confidence. And then you can do one final review once you have all of those changes in that base branch, feature A, and then you can merge it confidently. So that's the stacker. So those are my 3 approaches for breaking code into smaller PRs. Again, I think it's a very valuable skill. The benefits are you'll be able to merge things more quickly, which, hey, I love hitting that green merge button. There's no better feeling than the satisfaction of seeing something merged and seeing that turn from green to blue on GitHub. But this is a super valuable skill. It takes time to figure out, how you work best, what's going to work with your workflow, whether you're the hacker, the planner, or the stacker. But try it out. Let me know what you think.